goal today is to provide the parents involved with soon-to-be responsibility for horrific murder of 19 innocent child. Our goal today is to provide the parents, the community of Uvalde, the public, as much information as we can on where we are on the investigation. We're here reporting facts as we know them now, not to defend what was done or to criticize what was done or the actions taken. I'll begin first and foremost with the timeline. We know it. The second timeline will discuss the 911 timeline. We'll talk about the relevant social or digital media footprint of the subject. We'll also have plenty of time for questions at that point. #1127. We know from video evidence, 1127, the exterior door suspected what we knew the shooter entered, Ramos, was propped open by a teacher. 1128. The suspect vehicle crashes into the ditch, as previously described. The teacher runs to room 132 to take the phone, and the same teacher walks back to the exit door. The door remains propped open. The two males. Yesterday, the two males in the funeral home heard the crash. They went to the crash scene. When they arrived at the crash scene, before they got there, they saw a man with a gun exit the passenger side with a backpack and immediately began running. Ramos began shooting at him. He did not hit him. One of the males fell when he was running. Both males returned to the funeral home while they're running. And again, we see through video, the teacher reemerges inside the school and panicked and apparently calls 911. 911 call at 11:30. There was a crash, man with a gun. 11:31, the suspect reaches the last row of vehicles in the school parking lot. 11:31, the suspect shooting began at the school while patrol vehicles got to the funeral home. I'll point out where it is. Crash vehicles over here. There was a discussion early on that an ISD, consolidated ISD in Uvalde, had officers. The resource officer had confronted the subject. That did not happen. As RDS what we talked about yesterday. Certainly stated in preliminary interviews, but often in preliminary interviews and a cursory walkthrough doesn't reveal the type of information. And certainly the police officer, like anyone else, under stress, sometimes witnesses get it wrong. The bottom line is that officer was not on scene, not on campus, but had heard the 911 call with a man with a gun, drove immediately to the area, sped to what he thought was the man with a gun, to the back of the school, what turned out to be a teacher, but not the suspect. In doing so, he drove right by the suspect, who was hunkered down behind a vehicle, where he began shooting at the school. .1131, the suspect shooting in between the vehicle when it began while the patrol vehicle gets to the funeral home. Multiple shots are fired outside the school at 11:31. The patrol car accelerates in the parking lot, drives by the shooter. That's exactly what I was talking about with the ISD officer at that time. He passes, then leaves the camera view. There's multiple shots fired at the school at 11:32, at 11:32:27, 11:32:36. At 11:33 is when the suspect entered the school at the door that I'm pointing to now. At 11:33, the suspect begins shooting into room 111 or 112. it's not possible to determine from the video angle that we have at this point in time. We do know this, that he shot more than 100 rounds based on the audio evidence at that time, at least 100 rounds. He entered at 11:33. 11:33 he started shooting in the classrooms, 111 and 112. At 11:35, 3 police officers entered the same door as the suspect entered. All 3 of those police officers worked for the Uvalde Police Department. They were later followed by another 4, a team of Uvalde police officers, 3, and also a county deputy sheriff. So a total of 7 officers were on the scene. The 3 initial police officers that arrived went directly to the door, and 2 received grazing wounds at that time from the suspect while the door was closed. At 11:37, there was more gunfire. Another 16 rounds was fired at 11:37. 1 at 11:37, and 16 seconds, 11:38, 11:40, 11:44. At 11:51, the police sergeant and USB agents started to arrive. At 12:03, officers did continue to arrive in the hallway. There were as many as 19 officers at that time in that hallway. At 12:15, we know that WARTAC members arrived. Not the entire WARTAC, but the members of WARTAC, along with Shields. At 12:21, the suspect fired again, was believed to be at the door. 11:21, law enforcement moved down the hallway. At 11:50, they breached the door using keys that they were able to get from the janitor because both doors were locked. Both of the classrooms that he shot into were locked when officers arrived. They killed the suspect at that time. And now I'd like to go over the 911 timeline. So I warn you, it's not it's better that I read it than you listen to it. Caller identified, I'll not say her name, but she was in room 112, called 911 at 12:03. The duration of the call was 1 minute 23 seconds. She identified herself, whispered, she's in room 112. At 12:10, she called back in room 12, advised her multiple dead. 12:13, again she called on the phone. Again at 12:16, she called back and said there were 8 to 9 students alive. At 12:19, a 911 call was made, and another person in room 111 called. I will not say her name. She hung up when another student told her to hang up. 12:21, you could hear from the 911 call that 3 shots were fired. At 12:36, the 911 call lasted for 21 seconds. The initial caller called back, student child called back, was told to stay on the line and be very quiet. She told 911 that he shot the door. At approximately 12:43 and 12:47, she asked 911 to please send the police now. At 12:46, she said that she could hear the police next door. At 12:50, shots are fired. They can be heard. The 911 call. And at 12:51 is very loud and sounds like the officers are moving children out of the room. At that time, the first child that called was outside before the call cuts off. Additional information that we have, there are 58 total magazines for the school related to the crime scene. 11 of those magazines were inside the school. 3 were on the suspect's body. 2 in room 112, 6 inside room 11, 5 were on the ground, 1 was in the rifle. 32 magazines outside the school, but on school property. 1 just outside the school building, and 31 in the suspect's backpack that he did not take into the classrooms with him. There was 15 magazines at the crash site. There were 2 magazines at the suspect's residence for a total of 60 magazines. He had purchased and had a total of 1,657 total rounds of ammunition. 315 of those rounds were inside the school. 142 of those were spent cartridges. 173 were live rounds. 922 were outside the school, but on school property. 22 of those were spent cartridges. 900 were live rounds. 422 were at the crash site. 22 were spent cartridges. 422 were live rounds. There's 35 spent law enforcement cartridges total in the school. 8 of those were in the hallway. 27 were inside the classroom. 111 where the suspect was killed. I mentioned that, we'll go over quickly, a digital timeline. Like we talked about early, and I want to correct something that was said early on in the investigation, that he posted on Facebook publicly that he was going to kill it, that he was going to shoot his grandmother, that secondly after that he was going to, that he had shot her, and the third, that he was going to go shoot up a school. That did not happen. It was actually on a message on the Facebook application, messenger application to somebody else that he had a conversation with. We know that through his digital media footprint, and I'll just do by date time. That Ramos asked his sister to help him buy a gun. She flatly refused. That was in September of 21. I'll avoid some of these and get to them. He had Instagram before a group chat. And it was discussed that Ramos being a school shooter. That was on February 28th, 2022. On March 1st, 2022, there was an Instagram he had with 4 people. The chat, he discussed him buying a gun. On March 3rd, 2022, another 4-person chat. Quotations, word on the street, you are buying a gun. Ramos replied, just bought something. RN. On March 14th, and there's an Instagram posting by the subject, in quotations, 10 more days. The user replied, are you going to shoot up the school or something? The subject replied, no, and stop asking dumb questions and you'll see. I know you have many questions, and I've agreed to stay as long as we can, answer as many of those questions as we can. If I can't answer it, because we don't know definitively right now, I'll simply say that. It continues to be a preliminary investigation. There's, literally, certainly over hundreds of interviews have been conducted, will continue to be conducted. There's thousands of leads that are being pursued, not consecutively, but concurrently, and thanks to our federal and local partners. I do want to mention behind me, we've got the FBI Special Agent in charge. We also have an ATF Special Agent in charge, or ASAC, and of course, well, Texas Rangers. If there's any specifics that I haven't covered that I might need your particular support on. I want to cover one thing quickly though before I go to questions, and that's some of the questions that we've received, that we've already received. And one of those is going around now that in fact, the subject had been one of the 2 arrested by the Texas Rangers and the local police back in 2018. That's not the case. He was not one of the individuals. In fact, we have found no links, associations, or relationships to that investigation. Clearly, it was a threat. It was back in 2018. 2 juveniles were charged with attempted or conspiracy to commit capital murder. There's no question what we thought. We had evidence. Certainly the district attorney agreed that these juveniles, 113, 114 years old, was a threat to Uvalde. And there was a discussion at that time, even the senior year, that the one was 14 years old, which would make it 2022. However, there was not the subject. Questions? Oh, one thing I want to say, one thing I failed to say is that when we're done, we have Tony Pena with us, who's going to translate Spanish. Okay, but